Hey everybody. Back on November 8th, I wrote a post, I Speak Jive, and it was largely about writing filter programs, which I think are pretty cool. And these used to be typical on a Unix install, and so there was a Jive filter that would, kind of take an English sentence and turn it into a kind of a fake Jive speak. The Cheferator or the Cheferizer, which would turn it into Swedish chef speak, and there were a whole bunch of other ones. I think I have a. Do I have? I don't have a list here, but there were tons of these. And I thought these would be interesting ideas for projects, but it also got me thinking about some other older programs because older programs sometimes make good projects because stuff that you wrote, like things are so much more complex now. You used to be able to write a little program by yourself and it would be kind of cool, and now like everything is so big and over the top, and like you can't make a game now without your artist and your music people and your story people and all of that. But anyway, I got thinking back of some of the early Unix games that I used to play, and fortunately, a lot of them are available under the package BSD games. These are the old games that came with BSD, and a number of them make kind of nice projects, or there are nice project ideas inside of BSD games. And so I thought I would talk a little bit about them, and I'm doing this as a video as opposed to writing it up because I think it's easier if you can see a couple of these games. So one, for example, is the Pig Latin one. There's a Pig Latin filter. The other filters don't come with this. Actually, when I was doing the I Speak Jive post, I try to install these packages. The way you install them is sudo apt-get install BSD games if you're on a Ubuntu, Linux Mint, whatever type system. If not, you'll have to figure it out. I don't know about Windows actually, to be honest with you. So let's clear that up. But there are a number of these, and I said, yeah, these would be cool things. So let's look at some of these. Let's just scroll down quickly. So some of these are kind of cool. So there's the Pig Latin one, but Rot 13 is another one, and in Rot 13, I've written about a bunch of times as being a Caesar cipher. So that's kind of another one there. So already we have like the Pig Latin program I frequently do, Rot 13 I frequently do. Um, random lines from a file or random numbers. Okay, so that actually random to pull a random line from some file you have, I guess could be kind of cool. Actually, oh man, one random. Okay, no, there's no entry. So if I random help random hello world this, and it's pulling out. It didn't pull out the hello. Didn't pull out A, so I don't know. I just noticed that there. But a couple other ones. Okay, number 123, 123. That could be an interesting little project to do that type of thing. I know that a number of people do Roman numerals, but this is a different twist. Morse, BCD, Morse are related. They're actually the same program, I think. Morse, hello world, dots and dashes, and I think it can also be used hello world if you want to get into a history lesson about about punch cards and stuff like that. But that whole idea of converting to Morse code or converting from Morse code. So there's some good stuff in there. Banner. Wow, I guess I don't have banner here. D package. Let's look at maybe D package -L BSD games. So I guess banner is not here. So we do have, BCD, which I showed, and these are, yeah. So I guess it's not a complete installation here, but that's okay. The classic war games. Okay, so a little if statement action going on. I guess banner I could install as a separate program. No, okay. Ah. Probably in here. No, I guess not, since it says it's already installed. So let's see what's in there. Printer banner, I guess it's being called. So right down here. And the calendar program is another one that could be interesting. So let's look at printer banner. And it's printing this sideways long scrollable text. And I'm assuming I could do things to make it man printer banner. I could set the width. So let's say printer banner width 30. Hello. Okay, so that's another another cool thing you can do. There's random, just various stuff in my file, in my directory, in my root directory. So anyway, so these are some of the cool ones that you can do. Just little ideas. You get little inspirations for projects by just, or I do at least, from playing with these. But then we've also got, okay, arithmetic quiz. But the first one that I looked, Hangman, was Boggle. So Boggle. We have a Boggle game here, so let's see if we can find a word in here. Okay, I'm really bad at this. Anyone watching the video now, you're probably like screaming at the video, to find some word. S-O-N, sun, because we have S-O-N, and there are various ways you can check it as well. Now, this is doing certain things that are not that simple. It's displaying the board here. It's, showing a running clock. We can draw a question mark. It brings this up. Show remaining time, show help. Anyway, so we can look at all of these things here. But anyway, let's break out of this. But just that idea, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. You can, two-dimensional arrays to represent the Boggle board. You can have people, your students can type in words and they can search for them in various ways. So there are a lot of things. You could restrict it as a horizontal, vertical, diagonal word search type program. You can even get more ambitious because it's really not that hard, at least to do the interesting screen stuff, but I'll come back to that in a little bit. But I thought that there are a lot of ideas for a project in Boggle, and a lot of stuff that's approachable from an AP class. Robots is another one that I like a lot. So robots, so I'm that @ sign, and every time I move, the robots are chasing me, and teleport is T. And I have to get them to run into each other, because if they run into each other, I'll teleport again. Teleport again. Every time they run into each other, they're going to basically, what am I doing? I should probably be looking at the keys that I'm hitting. Let's just teleport again. And notice that every time they hit each other, they kill each other, and ultimately you'll either die or clear the board. This is a very cool game. It's actually very simple if you can control the screen, if you can print out to the screen and get your input without having to hit enter. And I can't tell you how to get input without hitting enter, because that's different based on the language and the environment that you're in. Excuse me. But printing to the screen, controlling the screen, is actually a very easy thing to do. I put this little demo up. Basically, you can use, and we'll do a search here, ANSI, screen, escape, control. I just search for a bunch of these things. There are these ANSI control sequences. I think this might be a better one. And if you print special sequences to most regular terminals, I don't know if this will work in the current shell terminal for Windows, but it works in most Linux terminals and probably Mac terminals. So like if you print out escape and then the open bracket, and then you give it rows and columns, and then H, it'll move the cursor. And you can also use this to set colors and attributes by sending these special things, these special forms. And I wrote this little demo.java. And so you'll see here, I just do this in main. I'm just doing a little delay here, printing hello here. But then this is how I move the cursor. Where is it? It's not showing here. Let me bring this up in an editor. And basically, this is the escape character. That is not caret open bracket. It's rather the escape character, which in Emacs I get by hitting Control Q, which is quoted, and then I hit escape. But that's followed by the open square bracket, then the row, then the semicolon, then the column, and then H, and then I want to print a star. So this little demo does this. It clears the screen. That's another escape sequence. It's waiting a few seconds, and then you'll see it does the hello, but then it can arbitrarily move and print, which is pretty cool. I use this like for the maze solvers that I write, and I'm just using, so it looks like a whole animation thing, but it's just ASCII code. It's just sending those special escape sequences. And in this particular case, where are we here? In this particular case, we'll see here, right over here, we're moving the cursor to the upper left corner of the screen, and then we just reprint the two-dimensional array, and that gives us a really nice animation effect. So you could just, if you can get the input without hitting enter, Hunt is actually a very easy thing to do. You just move to the corner and just print out the array with your robots, and it becomes a fun little two-dimensional array project. In fact, there are a bunch of things in these games that are kind of like that. So another one was worms, and that's a little fast, but it's just worms going around the screen, or rain. This is a version of Snake where we're trying to get the target, and the snake is chasing us. So it's a little bit different than the usual, and I died there. But again, it's not continuous. Just like robots, it only acts every time you enter a key. So that's a lot easier for the students than having to actually deal with the timing that's always running if you're just doing like a Java program in an AP class. So there are also other ones. There are these text adventures. Those are always cool. Trek was another one that I forgot about. But there are all these, like there used to be all these old Trek games. So let's make a short game. Let's make it easy. Novice, password, whatever. So I can look at my short range scan, and I can see what's in my sector. I can look at my long range scan. I can ask the computer to give me a chart. So I guess this is the sector that I'm in, and the short range scan was in there, and then I can use warp to move from sector to sector, and then if there are Klingons in the sector, I can shoot at them, etc. There are tons of old games like that. Another one that isn't here, there were games like Galactic Trader, where and I've seen versions of this. They're like pirate versions of this, where or not pirate, you're maybe a privateer, down in the Caribbean, and you go from port to port, and you buy at one port and you sell at the other port, and you try to make money, etc. So those are all really cool, and those are more like final project ideas. But again, tons of these. Meal Born, which is a classic card game, which is pretty cool. Hunt actually is a really amazing one. I'll just click on that one. And Hunt is kind of like, if I run it, so let's see, my name will be Z, I'll enter my nothing for my team. And so I'm connecting to Hunt. It's running a server. And I'll go and look. And what you can do is you can go around the world and you run around and the maze will display as as it goes. But what happens is other players can also connect to this and play. And again, I wouldn't advocate this for a student project, but there's the core idea that you can pull projects out of, like the idea of traveling around in this two-dimensional grid where it reveals itself only in your line of sight. This one is cool because you can shoot bullets and you can collect more bullets, you can use grenades, you can go into stealth mode, and it was also a reminder to me that you don't need great graphics. So when I taught the systems class at Stuyvesant, I would sometimes show this, and every time I would show this, this would become the hot game, and kids would stay in the lab and they'd fire up a Hunt server and they would all be playing Hunt with each other, and it would be the game. And this was like, we're talking like between 99 and 2010 or even beyond when I would do this. And there were games, they could do they could have done like Network Doom or Quake or Descent, these 3D immersive games or whatever, but they just kind of fell in love with this. And so it's not always about great graphics, but Hunt has some other really cool concepts. Another one that I liked, DAB, dots and boxes. And so the idea here is you're moving around and you're filling in dots and boxes, to make your squares. The cool thing here is you would think, like visually, these are your slots in a two-dimensional array, but it's not that simple because you have to store the edges. So that could also make an interesting project, even if you don't want to get into the interactive graphics. So lots of stuff here. I don't know if I'm missing any key ones that I wanted to speak about. They're just, well, two that I'll mention but I won't show. One is ATC, Air Traffic Controller. And ATC is just like really intense and big and over the top. And the other is Sail. And we can look at the man page for Sail. And just like look at the complexity, like it goes on and on and on. It's a complete like sailing, age of ships, battle simulation, and it's really in depth. I wouldn't advocate either ATC or Sail for student projects, but they're just really cool and really elaborate and just worth taking a look at it, playing at. This got me thinking about other classic games. The like Lunar Lander is another classic one. That was like a text only one that you could play on like calculators and stuff. So there are a lot of these older projects that can be really cool inspirations for lessons. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this didn't take too much time, about 18 minutes. So I'm going to stop this here. I hope some of you get some cool lesson ideas out of this or cool project ideas out of this. And I hope if people are of an age like I am, some of us older folks, that this might have just been a nice trip down memory lane. All right, so I'll see you next time.